My mother was a fantastic woman. Probably most people would say that about their mom, but she had beaten brain cancer and just had a immune compromised deficiency system, and to beat brain cancer and die from simply eating peanut butter is just inexcusable, no matter what the circumstances are. And to find out it was more than just negligence on a company's part, it was downright criminal. It's been under federal investigation for almost 4 years now. We were cheated of time with her, and we'll never know how much longer we had on this earth with her, because her life was taken by, greed and negligence of a company.
Dr. Williams, you worked with the FDA for 27 years.
Hearing these stories about people that have been ill and that have lost family members, it only emphasizes the frustration I felt over 27 years with how little progress we actually were able to make in reducing foodborne disease. I'm afraid is that the same kind of methodology we've been using to try and reduce these pathogens really since the birth of FDA 100 years ago, which is to try to lay out standards for plants and then go inspect them and make sure they're in compliance. That's really, it got us a certain ways, but it's not getting us very far now. We've got to move on. And I think Jeff is right. I think the trick is we've got to find ways to hold firms accountable. There's never going to be enough FDA inspectors. We have hundreds of thousands of domestic plants, hundreds of thousands of foreign plants that are shipping to us. So we're never going to have enough inspectors to inspect plants at the rate that we'd like to see. And in my mind, once a week is good. But if plants know they're going to be held accountable for producing contaminated foods, they're going to go all the way back in their supply chain, and they're going to make sure that food isn't contaminated.
They never determined where I got the salmonella, but when it hit me, it was horrible. I ended up in the emergency room, had emergency surgery for nearly 3 hours. 4 inches of my large intestine was removed. I spent the next 2 weeks in the hospital on a wide range of antibiotics. Had a colostomy for 8 months, second surgery to be reconnected 8 months later. My wife was 6 months pregnant at the time. I nearly died. And this should not have happened. I mean, I was careful about eating in the first place. I was incredibly fit, and yet I almost died.
Jeff, in your case, you were fortunate that you were able to use this new technology, because this only happened a couple of years ago, to pinpoint where the outbreak came from. Does that make it easier for you?
No, because the outbreak continued for months before it was actually caught. I am hopeful that the White House will finally release the proposed rules for the FSMA. They were supposed to last January. They've been sitting on it, probably due to the election. But they need to get off their hands, release those rules, and we can go forward with those laws that people fought hard to change.